Hey everybody, here we are again. It's been a long time. I want to make sure I've been having some issues. I want to make sure the chat's still working. It is not. Okay. Be right back. Give me a couple seconds to... get this set up. Had some last second technical issues. Here we go. Whoa, everybody. That's a lot of chat. Okay, I was not seeing any of this. So a lot of stuff. It's been a while since we last did this. There's a lot of stuff to show you. I just wanted to make sure there was a lot of things coming online at the same time, and I wanted to make sure that we had some of this stuff done before we showed it off. First, I see already in the thing, the soundtrack release is going to be on Monday. Monday morning, the soundtrack will be across Spotify and all the other channels. I'm really excited about the soundtrack. It was a lot of fun to put together, and I love how it turned out, which is really rare for me to say that about some stuff I made. But I've been listening to the music while I've been at the gym. Like, it's, I'm really excited about it. And hopefully when we get that out, we're going to hear more of those. I'll use those as, backings for videos and things like that. I should probably put a link for that somewhere at some point, but I think the link that I'm going to leave up right now is the Kickstarter. Oh, the beta sign up is that we still have the beta sign up list open, and if you want, you can sign up for access to the beta. Signing up for this doesn't automatically give you access to the beta, but it will put you on the list for this in the future. So let me put this up and pin it. And a lot of people here are asking about the soundtrack. I'll find the link to get. There's a link that you can get like notified or release. It'll be on all of our social media stuff. I don't know if any of you follow me on X or in the Facebook group, so we usually post all the different stuff on there. Somebody's asking here if they can confirm if they're signed up for the beta. I think if you sign up with the same email address, I don't think it'll do anything. I think that it's smart enough to know that. Okay, before we somebody's asking about the sound. All the tracks on the soundtrack are all new. I think what'll happen is in the game there will be a mixture of the original soundtracks and additional soundtracks too. So you'll still have the nostalgia from the original game, and then the soundtracks from the new one. So let's get into the game here, because I'm excited to show you this. But it turned to night here in the meantime while I was talking to you. So I'm going to restart. We'll flip over to that. Okay. Here we are. Does everybody see this? So there's a couple things that you notice right away. We have a pickaxe in your hand, so our item system is working. We have a gun that you can put in your hand, and we can actually reload and shoot that. And we got the weather system running. So as we run through this, we will start seeing weather changing, which is kind of cool. So it's our sky and weather system. So we'll kind of go through the game and show you some of the new stuff. One of the things that we've been working on a lot is the effect for block breaking. So I could show you that. It's kind of cool. There's this physics-based system for that. If you break blocks up high, the pieces fall out all over the place. And right now we're using grass as the ammunition for the gun. So if I pick up some grass pieces over here, I should be able to reload the gun and shoot it a couple times. Of course, we don't have all the effects in there yet for that. And here's the big surprise. Stand-in art for now, but we have enemies in the game at this point. So I'm going to let these things, I actually don't think I can shoot them, but they'll eventually chase me. And again, these are let me get on the ground. This is one of the pros. Yeah, he's going to go into the cave, and when we go in the cave here, you'll see that their eyes glow. They're absolutely terrifying. And these guys will like chase me around the map. Get away from them and lead us down into a cave. So you can see here, as we were sitting here, the weather started to change, and it's raining outside in this biome. All the biomes have different weather that change dynamically, so we'll fly out to some of the other biomes and change them. There's been a lot of stuff that's gone on in the meantime. So like a lot of small things, like the way that certain blocks and things look. So I have to make sure that I show that stuff out while I remember doing it. I think one of the coolest things to do here is to go down, if we go deep underground, and I start spawning some skeletons. The skeletons in the dark are like absolutely terrifying. So if I spawn, let's spawn a skeleton over here. They actually have like these glowing heads. And again, these are all stand-in. These are the original CastleMiner enemies, and we're putting these in just to test the AI, but we'll be replacing them later. So you can see this with we've changed the lava textures. This was another one. I don't know if we showed this off in the last stream. I should bop down to hell here and show that off while we're here. And I don't know if you haven't been through the streams lately, the new CastleMiner world is much, much deeper than the old one. So, and the caves are much more complicated and windy than they were before. There's big clearings and windy passages. So it's like a completely different experience to be down inside the caves now. And we don't have to imagine anymore. What I can do here is I can just go like, I'm spawning these guys manually, but I could throw some skeletons just right into the area. Let's turn the lights off. And I'll build a couple lanterns. And you start to get a really good idea, like what the game is going to like look and feel like. Like that actually be a good screenshot right there. So you could imagine getting chased through the caves by these guys. Let's go down here. I know this was in one of the other videos. You can see how deep the caves are at this point. Here, this is, wow, that light is looking really funny. It's not supposed to be, that green is not supposed to be there. And I actually don't know why that's happening right now. Let me see if I can fix that. Probably just come back to this later. Let's go out to the lagoon here. Oh, the sky is totally screwed up here. It might be because of all the teleporting. Oh, there it's righted itself. And here it's raining in the lagoon. We could see it. We have our flowing water. We've been working on the look and the texture of those. And you can see the water interacting with the rain surface here. Like these are water drops. Let me see if I can. What I'm going to do here is let me restart this, and I will take control of the weather. And we can see how some of the weather in these different environments will end up looking. Okay. Oh, this is cool. Let me show you. Let me show you this. Let's we'll change it to night here. We'll change the weather to a partly cloudy, and here's our big moon. And let's just spawn some zombies, and you can kind of get a feel about how getting chased by zombies in the night is going to be. And light's going to be a big part of the game, so I have a light on me here, but and what I can do here is build some lanterns. So it's coming together good. This is it's moving really quick, and I think a lot of the core stuff is here. It's enough where we could feel sort of what it's going to be like in the end. I'll show you some more of the blocks here. Let's go out to go out to the desert here. And I think for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to be like dusk. These are the oases. I don't know if you haven't been to the streams before. These are the oases that pop up in the desert. Very scenic. Nice places to vacation. And right around the corner here, we have a pyramid. This is a new thing. Let's change it to daytime so we can see this a little bit better. But yeah, the pyramid. There's pyramids in the desert. I have some really good ideas about what I'm going to do with these, but I don't want to spoil it right now, but I have a plan for these. You can see that the crosshairs line up here. We're going to make sure that we change that before we ship the game so that they're all wonky and off-center. But yeah, in the desert here, there's more stuff. It's funny, there's a crash site right here too. This is a really sort of rich environment where there's a lot of stuff going on. I see there's 2 intersecting pyramids, which is crazy. I think I might need to check the math on this a little bit. Let's pop under the crash site here now that we're down here, and we got sort of the lighting adjusted for this. Yeah, this is the place. I think we need to adjust some of the lighting of the goo under here. You can't see. Okay, sorry, I took a look at the chat. I totally screwed up, and you were watching me instead of the screen. Okay. Let's back up. Okay, I don't even know where to like that was a real royal screw up. Let me back up, and we will back up here. So I don't even know where to start. Okay, let's go. Sorry about that, everybody. That was absolutely horrible. I think one of the things I was showing off here was the okay, so one of the things I was showing off here was the enemies at night. So let's just start with that. I should have stopped and looked at the chat. It's hard to do all this stuff at once, especially with the game being half done. So I'm gonna click this down to night, and I'm gonna change the weather to partly cloudy. We go, and what I'm gonna do is nice moon here, is I'm gonna spawn a couple zombies, and you kind of get a feel what the game is gonna look like at night. And I was saying that light is a big part of the game, so you could imagine, you know, different lighting situations here. I can set up a build block for a lantern, drop a couple of those down. And again, these are the original CastleMiner zombies, but almost surely are going to be replaced. The grass here gives me ammunition, so I can... So I think what the next thing I did here is I went out to the lagoon. And... Oh, the desert. We went out to the desert. That's what it was. Yeah. Let's shoot out to the desert. Okay. So I'm here in the desert, and I think what I did here, this is funny, I'm trying to redo what I did on the stream, is I set the, we went to like a dusk, like a late afternoon. And this is a kind of cool area because you get to see like the intersection between the desert and the lagoon here. It's cool about the water. It's all, there's translucency on these textures. I don't know if you could see, is that the light will shine through a lot of this stuff. And I think it just turned, I got the days changing faster than they should, but here's a here's an oasis in the desert. It just happens to be in this spot. There's a lot of stuff. I go over right behind this here. We have pyramids. We just built pyramids out in the desert. And let me move the sun out here. And this gives you a look at sort of what you're going to see. And I have a bunch of, like I was saying, I have a bunch of plans for what to do with these later on in the project. I haven't put them in yet, but I don't want to ruin the surprise. And the weird thing about this area is there's a crash site right here, which is a little bit disturbing because it makes me think that there might be too much stuff going on here. Crash sites haven't changed much. These blocks light up. I think I have the light not set on them right. So did you guys see all the underground stuff, right? That's the, we went underground and did all that. This is weird to have to like redo this stuff. Somebody's asking, when is the game going to be released? We're shooting for this year. That's our goal. Like, I would say we're like a little over a third of the way done at this point, and it's moving very, very fast. Like most of the major features are in at this point. Like we have, like these aren't fake. This is all real. We have an item system. We have a weapon system. So it's moving really, really fast, and a lot of it is coming down to art. Somebody's asking about the minimum PC requirements. And this is I don't know, first of all. Everything we're showing here is real-time ray tracing, so it's RTX compatible. But Unreal Engine has a way of scaling things back to different systems, and we'll definitely take advantage of that. Here we have another, we made the trees a little bit denser. We have a little oasis here, but it doesn't have any water attached to it. So let's fly out. I'm gonna skip this. There isn't much new in the mountains, but we did a lot of work on the ice texture. So we're trying to figure out how translucent materials are going to look. So if you pick up a good like a angle of these with the sun, you can see it's this kind of like crisp, shiny, translucent material. Yeah, here we go. We were to get like under these. Now that I have, the cool thing is how these blocks drop when you do them. There also is going to be different effects for things like snow. So this one's not really fully in there yet, but like there's going to be some of the blocks are going to break in different ways. Somebody's asking if the game is going to have music. Yes, music was always a big part of the game. It's definitely going to have music. Typically, when you make games, you put in sound almost completely last, and then you put in music even after that. So like that, like the sound won't go in until like the very, very last minute. I always say it's like frosting a cake. Like you don't do it until afterwards. You can kind of see the light shining through the ice bricks here. This is a stand-in effect. This is one of the next things I have to work in. But the snow, it kind of glows right now. But the snow is supposed to break and fall in a different way than the rock does. Like the materials will have different break effects, basically. Get up here. That is a bug. Those should be. Okay. Somebody's asking here about the Discord channel. The people on the Discord channel have been great about supporting us. It's not our channel. Let me throw that link up there. It's not our channel, but it is the community's channel. And I'm regularly over there. So, yeah, any suggestions you put up there, I probably will see. Let me change my Facebook link or my sign up. Nope, that's the wrong one. I always get this wrong, so I want to make sure that I will pin the Discord link up there. I look at this several times a day, so if you want to give suggestions, this is a great place to do it. Whoa, okay, so there's a lot of questions here. Yeah, somebody's asking about, a lot of people are asking about the block breaking effect. Like we're in the middle of like doing that right now. So, like it'll end up looking different than it was in the end, and I don't want to, but it gives you the essence of what it kind of will look like. Somebody's asking about replacing the enemy models. Like, yes, that's like, I think we'll probably end up replacing all of the enemy models. I think that's a reasonable thing. Let me change the camera view here. I can put this. Yeah, there we go. Somebody's asking about, there's questions about the player characters here. Again, we're still trying to figure out what to do with the player characters. I can almost promise you, though, that the player characters will not be customizable when the game ships. There'll be some standard character. And then if everything goes well and the game is received well, then we will add those features in later. Somebody's asking about after launch updates, and this is part of our big plan. I have somebody on staff that specializes in doing this, so we have a plan if the game is received well to give it continuous updates, and that's sort of what everybody wants to do on the team. So again, it's kind of up to you guys. Like if you guys make the game successful, then we'll have the ability to update it, and we will continue doing that. Somebody's asking about system specs for the game. I don't know right now. There's a fallback system in Unreal Engine, but we're shooting for high-end hardware because we want the game to look like a game that would be made on high-end hardware. And a lot of our lighting depends on real-time ray tracing, which is a feature that you need an RTX video card for. So I sort of don't know what the min spec is. And then somebody's asking here about the Xbox port of the game. Like we definitely want to do an Xbox port of the game. It's kind of like our main thing. It's one of the reasons we're using an engine like this. Microsoft has to approve us for that. I think that if we're successful on Steam, there's a very good argument for Microsoft to accept us. But obviously we don't know about this. They're asking about avatars on the Xbox. I don't think avatars are available on the Xbox in the same way they were anymore. I'll look into it, but I could be wrong about that. But I don't believe it works the same as it used to make. Somebody's asking here about armor. People have asked about this since the beginning of the project. I have a lot of plans of what I would like to do with weapons and armor, and I would like to do more of that. My vision for the game always was a game where you progressed through the world through a crafting tree. So having like a rich level of items and weapons and enemies and ways to customize those was sort of like the core thing I always wanted to do. And again, it's sort of like if the game is received well, then we'll be able to do more with it. So somebody's asking here is if this is a remake that we're going to be adding more to it. It's and it's not really a remake. Like already we've added a lot of stuff to the game that wasn't there before. I think I'll just keep flying around while I'm talking because it gives you an opportunity to see more stuff. We're going to see the night roll in here. I don't know if you haven't seen it already. We have actually, the mountains is where this looks good, is that I can, let me drop a snowstorm in here. Turn my light off, and I'll drop a couple lanterns in here. And all of a sudden, we're in the middle of a snowstorm at night. Somebody's asking about mod support. And our plan is to allow for mod support. You can see here that the surfaces are actually building up with snow. If you haven't seen this already before, that's kind of harder because we're in the Arctic. But like these were ice before, and the surfaces. Let me go out to the mountains. Yeah, already here you can see that snow is formed on most of the surfaces here. This might look better in the daytime. It's hard to get Things lit right. And you can see we're in a blizzard here in the mountains, and all the surfaces are are covered with snow. So snow accumulates in our weather system. Somebody is asking if we're going to implement a hunger system. It's unlikely. I don't have any plans to do that, although that could change. Somebody's asking about a mobile port. I would like to do a mobile port, but I think it would have to be a sort of a trimmed down version of the game because I don't think the game would run on a mobile system right now. But Unreal Engine supports mobile development, so it is possible for us to do that. Somebody's asking if I get sick of asking the same questions, all answering the same questions all the time. And no, I don't. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for. Um, somebody else is asking here about if there's going to be new enemies, and it's likely that there'll be some new enemies. Again, we're sort of like just at the beginning point of getting that stuff in the game, and we're trying to get all the original stuff into the game in the most quick and efficient way possible. One of the cool things that you see here about the snow is that the snow is actually blocked by things. So if you go into like an internal place, it'll protect you from the snow. Like right now, the snow is blowing from a certain direction. Like if I come down in here, you can see the snow, blowing into caves, like from the outside. It's kind of cool. Somebody's asking about recovering old worlds. I I'm gonna say no. I'm not sure that it's possible to do. Um, it's hard to explain this from a technical point, but getting the worlds to recreate in the exact way that the old CastleMiner did it may not be a thing that's feasible. So I'm gonna so nobody gets disappointed. I'm gonna say that it's probably unlikely that you'll be able to carry old worlds over from the original CastleMiner over to this one. Somebody's asking about new biomes, and I have actually a lot of plans for new biomes. But again, it's like I can't keep creating new work for the team. So, one of the things I should show you is that we have new rock textures, but there's no easy way for me to show that off right now. Let me, while I'm in here, let me drop in some new weather. I wonder how the fog would look in here. And we're seeing we did a lot of work on the transition zones here, so we're in a transition zone between the mountains and the desert here, and they're still covered with snow. But I think the snow will melt for us here shortly. I know if I bring the sun out, it will. Yeah, here it goes. The snow is melting, so we can watch that happen. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about Minecraft's ability to change things. First of all, Minecraft has a lot more resources than we do. We're only a four-person team. The other thing is that we're moving to a completely new engine. Like everything in this has been rebuilt from the ground up, and most of the world generation code has been moved over. And I've tried to maintain a path to make the worlds look the same as they used to, if that was a feature that people wanted. But you can see the snow is melted into puddles here, which is kind of cool, and I think the puddles will go away shortly too. Um, but just the way that random numbers are generated between the two are different. I don't know that I could recreate that exactly. The other thing too is that our game only saved the difference between the random data and your data. So I think if in Minecraft, I think they were saving the entire world out to places, and ours just never worked like that. It's possible that we could build some tool in the future to migrate things over or something, but it's definitely not something we're going to have for launch. Somebody's asking about, is there creative mode? I would definitely want to support all the modes that were in the original game. So creative, dragon, endurance, all of those modes. Somebody's asking here about the transition zones. Let me change it to daytime here. And actually did a lot of work on this. I did a lot of it. I don't know. Actually, it wasn't streamed. But I did a lot of work getting the transition zones to work right. So, for example, you used to see like there was a line between. This is actually kind of hard to see with the fog. Let's go to some better weather. Let's go for cloudy weather. So you can see here if we, well, I'll just go, here's another crash site. That we're in the desert here, and you'll see the mountains start popping out of the desert. Somebody's asking here about how I met the team. This is that's actually a really good question. I'll tell that story. I've met everybody separately. So I started making games when I was like, I think 5 or 6 years old, and then I started working for the game industry right out of college when I was like, I think 21 years old. And in my first job is where I met our art director, Heinz. We worked together at a small company in Chicago, and then the company was bought by Microsoft. We moved out to Seattle, and I've known him ever since. And that was like 1999 or something. So it's been like 25 years or so. And then there's John, and I worked with John when I worked in Microsoft Research, and the three of us did a lot of the different CastleMiner games. There's a fourth person involved, but we'll talk about him later when when sort of he comes more online with the project. But he's another person. He's actually a very famous game designer that I've known for a very long time. And when I started my company, what I did is I found the people that I enjoyed working with the most in my career in the AAA game industry, and decided to make games with them. Here we're looking at the transition. You can see the transition between the mountains and the Arctic here. So we're coming out of the mountains, and we probably weren't even really aware that that was happening. And, it goes right into the Arctic here, and the mountains will kind of die off, and the Arctic picks up. Oh, somebody's asking about the hieroglyphic blocks that I showed in the disc. There was a picture I put in the Discord of these hieroglyphic blocks. They're in the game right now. I have a plan for them. They're going to have something to do with the pyramids, but I haven't put it in yet. Somebody's asking about the HUD. Yeah, the HUD is completely stand-in. The HUD, all of this stuff is like typically when you make games, you put in the ugliest, cheapest versions of things just to get them running, and then you replace them as the game starts to be completed. But this allows us to make changes to things and change how things work without doing any work for art. There's a name for this. We call it programmer art. You can see the reflections here. Like you can see the sky reflecting off the ice here. It's kind of cool. We have this name for it called programmer art, and programmer art is supposed to deliberately be ugly. One of the things that's cool out here, let me do this. We'll go clear skies, and as it becomes night, we will get the aurora. I think you'll start to see it as it gets darker. Up in the Arctic areas here, like the aurora will show up in the sky, which is kind of cool. Somebody's asking about how finished the game is. It's, I would say, a little over a third, less than half. What'll happen here pretty soon is the game will start to look like it's really finished, but there's a lot of things that we have to do that are not visible to people. Like, for example, the networking is an example of that. And that's something that is going to take a long time, but you won't see it working while it's working. Somebody's asking if the Mystery Fourth developer is Notch. It is not Notch. Not that famous. And asking if I know Notch. No, I don't know Notch, and I've never met him or interacted with him online before. You can see the aurora light. This is a little brighter than it probably would normally be, but you can see the aurora actually lighting up the snow, which is kind of cool. Somebody's asking here about the difference between the PC version, the Xbox Legacy, and the different features that are in the ones. And I've said this in other streams, but I have to explain this story. Is that the PC version and the Xbox version we did the PC port, then we hired a company at one point to do updates to the game, and they did a really good job. They did a lot of content. A lot of the stuff that you've seen in the game was that game, but in the end, it wasn't my vision for the game. And there's a lot of things that happen in that area that I go. This is a good example. This is the transition zone between the Arctic and the descent here, and you can see how the snow kind of pours over into the descent. It's like a glacier. And there used to be a line in the old CastleMiner game that the snow would just stop and the other biome would start. But these are blended together to look like sort of like a glacier area. But anyways, that it's unlikely that we're going to recreate all of the features that the other company did in the PC port of the game. The way that I said is that we're starting with sort of the Xbox version of the game. And you could see that it looks more similar to the Xbox version of the game. That was one of the things I wanted to preserve instead of going... the lighting's getting a little goofy here, but we're still working this out. This obviously won't look like this in the end. Underground, not sure how that happened. Okay. And this is, we have a an issue with the sky out here. But we're coming up to sort of the, this is a better impression of what hell would look like. We have a, gets funny out here because the light doesn't bounce across the ceiling anymore. Somebody's asking about the mystery blocks. I was never crazy about the mystery blocks. I think it's unlikely that I'm going to bring them back. Again, this was sort of what this other company did. I did a stream where I got that look of the lava here. I think I was kind of happy with the way that it turned out. Let me stop this and we're going to go back to the beginning. The reason I didn't like the mystery blocks was because the game, I spent a lot of time trying to balance all the resources and everything so that there was some challenge in doing that, and I kind of felt like the mystery blocks defeated that. So what I would like to do is do more with the ores and crafting system than just having blocks that just give things away. Somebody's asking. I appreciate this. Somebody is asking about the channel monetization, and I appreciate what you guys have done. We hit the threshold, and I'm going through the process with YouTube of turning that on right now. That was a big deal. I don't know if you haven't heard the stories before. Basically, like I lost my monetization at one point, and we had to get enough watch hours to do it. It looks like we've done it. I'd like to hit the next goal before I give up on this, but I think that it would. I think that's going to come pretty easy. And again, the reason is I don't want to run ads on things, but what happens is if you don't have monetization on your channel, YouTube will run ads on your video for them, and I don't get any benefit from that. So I would just like the ads removed from my videos, especially if we put up game trailers and things like that. Let's go to underground here while we're talking. While we're sitting here, before we end the stream, because it looks like we just have a few more minutes here, I'm going to remind everybody that we are going to run our Kickstarter pretty soon. And you can follow the link here, but the Kickstarter, we appreciate any support we can get here. And one of the best things you can do for us is sign up for the Kickstarter ahead of time to be notified when it starts. And even if you don't contribute anything, like it gives us a good idea about how many people are interested in the game. Somebody is asking the stream about where you can pay us. We don't have any place to collect money from you right now. So aside from buying one of our games, and we've never actually we've never asked for money for this before. So like running the Kickstarter is going to be a kind of a big deal for us. And if that works out, there's obviously gives us the ability to do a lot more stuff because everybody right now is basically kind of doing this out of love. And, there's a bunch of stress that comes along with that. So at some point, we'll just be able to do more with the project if we have a successfully pumping it out. I keep falling into lava here. Yeah, one of the videos we made all these features underground, the stalactites and the stalagmites. Light off. Never actually seen the bloodstone break. Not even sure it does. Somebody's asking how long it'll take until we could play it. The the beta version of the game, we can only we sort of have to wait till the game is playable for people to play it. There wouldn't be much to play right now, and there's a lot of stuff that's really broken. So it'll probably be closer to the release of the game. We've always done betas before. It's been really helpful for us. It's a great way to get feedback and to find bugs, and I appreciate that people sign up and do this. I appreciate the fact that you guys are so supportive of this. And I'll take a couple more questions here, and then I'm going to drop off. We're rounding out the hour here, so I'm going to drop off. One of the things you can see that's cool about this, I don't know if you haven't seen this other video, is how the light reflects up in our games. It's like this transition area between hell and the world turned out really good because you can see like here's a place where there's actually water coming down, which is cool. You can see how these areas sort of get underlit from the light below. Somebody's asking about a CastleMiner 2. This is an interesting question. Probably not a pure CastleMiner 2, but I'd like to just continue to grow this thing. And one of the games that we never made, and there's some videos floating around of pieces of it, was CastleMiner Dungeons. And what I'd like to do is integrate a lot of the features of what I had planned for CastleMiner Dungeons into this game. And again, this really hinges on how successful the game is, and that's kind of cool. How successful the game is and how much support we have for it, which will allow us to do it. But at one point we were doing production for a CastleMiner Dungeons game, and we ended up not ever finishing it. And I would love to do more with it. Some people here are asking about CastleMiner Dungeons, and yeah, basically it was supposed to be a procedural dungeon crawling game that was used a lot of the same elements from CastleMiner, and we were in the process of working on it. It's actually where the water was developed from. Lost audio. It's not good. Hello. Okay, I'm not sure if anybody can hear me right now. So, somebody's asking here about balance, and they're saying the 3,000 distance was way too hard. We have the world is like twice as big as it used to be before. So I think 3,000 at 3,000 now, you're still only out at like the desert, and we did that for various different reasons. But yeah, as we grow the game, I'd like to change the balance. So the game was supposed to be hard. Like it was supposed to be sort of an arcadey experience that got more difficult as you went out into the distance. Somebody's asking here about a story mode. I like the idea of a story mode. And again, this comes down to the support that we get on the project. If there's a lot of support that comes out when we release the game, then we'll be able to do a lot more things that that you asked for. That's sort of how it worked. We spent probably 10 years working on the game and adding updates to it. So like the people on the team would love to continue to do this, and the only thing that makes it possible for them is your continued support, and we've gotten a lot of support so far, so it's very encouraging. Somebody's asking about a measure of the support, and the reality of it is it comes down to if people buy the game at the end. Um, it's not like the people working on the team have sort of like real world problems, and if it is like feasible for them to work on the game full time, then they'll do that. But otherwise, they'll kind of be forced to do things that they would like to not like to do as much. So again, it really comes down to at the end of the day, if people are willing to buy the game. Somebody's asking if we're going to use the same audio. I think for a lot of the stuff, like you can see in the visuals for the game, there's this mixture of new stuff and old stuff, and we would want to maintain as much of that as possible. Somebody's asking me to explain the tower. That's an interesting story. The way it came out originally was we were looking for a place to mark the origin, and I made a little thing and it looked cool, so we kept it. But I would like to build in some lore for the tower going forward. Somebody's asking about the old zombie noises. I think it would be really hard to take those out. I think that on some level we want to maintain the nostalgia of the game. We still want to make it feel like you're playing the original game. So yeah, I don't think that we would take the zombie sounds out. So I'm gonna sign off here. I'm gonna go back to doing, now that I've done this, I'm gonna go back to doing the live dev streams. If you come by the live dev streams, I usually don't talk during them, but I usually develop some part of the game, and I'm going to have I'll be doing more of those in the future as features come up that I'm working on. Right now, we're just trying to get this thing running, and we're making a lot of progress. So we appreciate all the support that everybody has given us. So thank you very much. You guys, if you have more questions, you can come to the forum or drop them as comments on the video. I appreciate it. Thank you.